days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and it's time for the game preview show. 49ers versus Seahawks rivalry week. Alex, I'm excited about this. Can't wait to get into this, break down some key matchups, and also give some bold predictions. Maybe make a few pick predictions as well.
I mean, there's a good chance we're going to lock it up with the Azorean one, right? That we're going to get bold with our wow, that's bold predictions, and definitely go over key matchups, because that's what you do when you're previewing a game. What are the things that the Niners need to focus on? What are the things they can exploit? What can Seattle exploit? How can we prevent and protect ourselves, insulate ourselves from some of these issues? So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell, and let's get into this thing, Ant, because week 3 behind us, week 4 in front of us, that's where the attention has to be. That's what the 49ers' attentions are, right? And you got a tough matchup. You got a Seattle team, obviously with an incredible quarterback in Russell Wilson, who does just stupid things all the time. In fact, Kyler Murray starting to emulate some of those things. It's really starting to piss me off, Ant. But it's fine, because we got our guy in the wings who maybe can do some of that stuff too as well, and Trey Lance. But how can the 49ers really go about slowing down Russ and not letting Russ cook as much as we want him to?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is make sure you're doing your assignment. Stick to the game plan and make sure you're executing that game plan, because that did not happen a lot against the Packers. There were times they were running certain coverages, and then the corners weren't exactly executing those roles. And a lot of it was, unfortunately, on Deommodore Lenoir. You got a young player out there. He's supposed to play with outside leverage and force the receiver to the inside, where he's got safety help, and he wasn't. He was letting that receiver get to the outside. Those are things you can't recover from. And when you have big-time players like the Seahawks have, like the Green Bay Packers had, they can make plays out of it. If you give Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett those opportunities, they're going to be able to succeed. But just like always, you need to keep Russ inside the pocket. You need to make sure that when you rush him, you keep those rush lane integrity together, so that way you can keep him in the pocket and not allow him to get outside. Because when he gets outside, he's going to use a little duck move, and he's going to somehow come out of there. And it is one of the most nerve-wracking and frustrating things to watch. One of the things I hate most about playing Seattle is Russell Wilson. I have a lot of respect for him and what he can do. And he's also one of the best deep pass throwers in the league. So I think the 49ers got their hands full with him this week and with that offense, and it's a little bit different offense, a lot more like the Rams and the 49ers offense is the wide outside zone is going to be involved now. So it's a little bit of a different battle, but I'm excited for this game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how DeMeco Ryan schemes it up.
It's going to be important. He called one heck of a game against the Packers. Outside of one call late in that game, it was pretty flawless. Man, it really was. It was impressive to watch, especially watching that thing back on the All-22. It was like, man, he was pretty dialed in to what the Packers wanted to do. He had guys in the right spots. It's just a lack of execution. So the bad news is week 3 didn't execute. The great news is you put all that on film. So all those guys are able to go back, look, watch, and go, okay, I see why now. I see that mistake. I get that. And now you can take that and apply it on the field. The one thing that I will say for Demo is that in week 3, he had moments where he wasn't playing that outside leverage correctly. He turned around the very next opportunity he got and did it correctly. And sometimes overcorrected. Did a little too much and gave a little too much space and tried too hard to take away the outside deep shot and gave up some other things late. That's okay, though, because you have to live and you have to learn. What can I get away with? What can I not get away with? What will they test me on and go at me with? And then finding that middle ground, that space of knowing where you need to be. The great news, Emmanuel Mosley came out of that game unscathed and looked phenomenal.
He did.
Even better news, Josh Norman looks like a leader. So if this guy can be healthy and be good to go in this game, I have less questions about the secondary. Can Josh Norman make it through a full football game now is the real question.
Well, he did against the Eagles.
He did.
And Josh Norman's a guy that, he can play football games. He's played a lot of football games in this league at a very high level. I'm not so much worried about him. I think if he gets out there, he'll be able to just stick in there and make some plays for them. But you're right, he has looked very good. And I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen early on. I kind of doubled down on him.
You did?
I thought that maybe he could do something. And the way that they're using him in the system and the way DeMeco Ryan is using zone coverage and then, really going after these guys on third down with man coverage is something that's going to be interesting to see if they want to reproduce in this game, because we all know when you get man coverage, Russell Wilson and running quarterbacks have the opportunity to run the football because these defenders have to turn and run with receivers. And when they do, they don't have their eyes back on the backfield. So you would think that that's going to lend itself to a lot of zone coverage this week, which DeMeco Ryan has proven to be doing a little over 60% of zone coverage in these football games. So those are things that Josh Norman's successful at. Those are things that Emmanuel Moseley can do very well. And he has two safeties that can execute it in a high level and in a big way. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he schemes it up. I'm also looking forward to seeing how these personnel groupings work out and if the 49ers are in a lot of base 4-3 sets or if they're in their nickel package because they're going to have a new nickel corner, whether that is Dante Johnson playing on the inside or if that's Buster Screen, whoever that is, somebody's going to be manning the inside right there, and they're going to be matched up with Tyler Lockett a lot. It's going to present a lot of interesting matchups. All of this the while, you have to make sure you stop Chris Carson in this run game because it got going early last week. They got away from it. If they would have stuck with it, who knows what the outcome could have been. That is the one thing that I do like about playing Seattle is at some point Seattle will abandon the run game because they feel like Russ needs to cook. It doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is. It is a pitfall of every single offensive coordinator they have. At some point, go away from the run and let Russ cook because if not, Russ gets upset. So I am looking forward to that. So if we stop that run game early, I think the 49ers have an opportunity to win this football game.
That's going to be important. He's slowing down that run game early, and how DeMeco Ryan chooses to scheme that up is going to be important. And then the packages that he tries to use as well. We did see times where they went straight cover one. They manned up underneath with Tart and Ward in slot situations and brought in Hufanga to play with single high safety over the top. So Hufanga got a little bit of a run. He had his opportunities and his moments in the week 3 matchup. Will we get to see more of him in week 4, using him as a single high or using him in certain coverage 3 situations? I don't think so. He didn't have himself too great of a night, especially there late at the end of the game. When people are upset about giving up certain things and yardages and not bracketing Devontae Adams, well, you had 2 rookies on one side of the field not executing and doing the things they needed to do against Devontae Adams. But look, it'll be very interesting to see what route they choose to go. If Josh Norman isn't healthy, where are you sticking Demo? If you're sticking him on the outside, who are you sticking him against? Are you sticking him against Metcalf? Are you sticking him against Lockett? Are you going to let Emmanuel Moseley just trail DK Metcalf all over the field and try and make Tyler Lockett beat you? If you do that, they have beaten teams. The first 2 weeks of the season, the Seahawks were able to, or the first week of the season, the Seahawks were able to beat teams with Tyler Lockett torching teams over the top. It's a very risky proposition.
Yeah, I think you also could see some Drake Kirkpatrick.
Absolutely.
There's a possibility that he could be playing. But I think a perfect scenario for the 49ers would be to disguise help, right? Sometimes you're going to make it look like you're giving help. You're going to split those safeties. The too high safety look is something they've been going to prominently. And when you put Lockett and DK on different sides, that's what they're going to have to do. And that's going to give the Seahawks opportunities to attack the middle of the football field, which is going to put a lot of added stress on Fred Warner to get those deep drops and some of the other guys. Now, I wonder if they change the game plan from running a 3 safety look to adding an extra DB. Who that is going to be, that'll be a good question because now that they have screen, we'll see what they do. But it would make sense to me to be able to put one of those extra guys in there, leave Tart in the center of the field deep, and then go ahead and run the extra DB inside, more of a dime look. That is something they could do because Seattle will try to spread them out. Now, the good news is you do have to feel somewhat comfortable with Emmanuel Moseley and Josh Norman one-on-one with these guys. They're not going to be able to win consistently. So if you put them out there consistently on an island, they're going to get beat. But 100%, if you put these guys out there and change it up and do different things, you can make these guys uncomfortable. And there are opportunities where times you can cover DK one-on-one and then bracket Lockett. And there's times you can go one-on-one with Lockett and bracket DK. And as long as you keep confusing them, the Seahawks don't have enough weapons in other places to be able to beat you. The key right now is going to be don't let those 2 guys beat you. Make Chris Carson beat you. Make these other receivers that they're going to have to put out there beat you. Make the tight end position beat you, which is a very good matchup for Fred Warner. I think we all feel comfortable with Fred Warner, Jaquiski Tartt, and those guys on the tight end. The only thing is Tartt, Ward, you're going to have to be very consistent in helping those 2 outside guys. So the game plan will be set and it'll be in. And what they do, they got to get Russ off his timing, and they got to make sure he's throwing into tight windows. Make it tough on him. If they do, then they have an opportunity to win. If they don't, it's going to be a long day.
Absolutely. Very well could be. And that brings up the key matchups. We got to get into these defensive key matchups and what the 49ers could be seeing. What is yours for this week's game?
Yeah, my first key matchup on the defensive side of the football is going to be DeMeco Ryans versus Russell Wilson. And since we were talking about defense, I figure we'll just flow right into that. And the reason I went with this is because Robert Saleh did such a great job early on of really confusing Russell Wilson, and especially in the 2 meetings in 2020. you saw that Russ got off his spots. He wasn't comfortable, took a lot of sacks because Saleh came after him early and often. He brought blitzes with linebackers and extra guys off the edge, and it really put him into a world of hurt. So I'm looking to see what DeMeco Ryans does, because so far his blitzing has come more as the game has progressed, not early on in the game where Robert Saleh kind of did the inverse. Now the problem was at some point Saleh would go away from it because he was afraid Russ would burn him, and then Russ would start picking him apart. So I think DeMeco Ryans has got to really keep Russell Wilson guessing. He's got to make sure he disguises coverage. But if you watch the Green Bay film, especially the All-22, you saw that consistently DeMeco Ryans had these guys moving late movement, showing shell coverages, showing blitzes, and then they would bail. And he would drop linemen into coverage and all kinds of stuff, zone blitzes, to confuse the looks and make sure that he made it, very hard for Aaron Rodgers to figure out what was going on. I mean, Aaron's Aaron, so he made plays. But there was a time in the game where Aaron Rodgers looked confused, stymied, and sometimes just threw the ball into the air into a spot where he was hoping to get some sort of pass interference call, because there just wasn't a lot of opportunity. So I think DeMeco Ryans can confuse Russell Wilson. And I think there is a little bit of a difference between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers as far as how they throw football in certain locations. So when it comes to timing routes and things like that, Aaron Rodgers is better. When it comes to deep ball, I think Russell Wilson's a little bit better than Aaron. But if the 49ers can, present opportunities for that defensive pass rush to get home, they're going to have a lot of big plays on their hands. So the 49ers can create turnovers this week. They can get after Russ and they can cause problems. They need to keep him in the pocket. It's going to be all about what DeMeco Ryans can do and how he can confuse Russell Wilson.
Key. It's a key, man. And you're not wrong. He did do a lot of things with the D line, a lot of interesting stuff. Dropped D Ford out into coverage a couple of times. Had DJ Jones and Kinlaw literally bailing out and sitting, 5-8 yards deep and just waiting. Like, you're not throwing here? No, Rodgers. And the big Devontae Adams play in the red zone is actually taken away early because Devontae Adams is the read and DJ Jones is literally standing there going, you're not throwing here. And then Devontae Adams breaks out. Rodgers breaks contain a little bit, and they're able to extend and make a play. DeMeco Ryans, big key in this game. He has to be, but the other big key, the other thing that has to happen, Emmanuel Mosley's got to shut down DK. He's got to disrupt DK Metcalf and what that man wants to do out in space. The good news about DK, he tends to elongate routes, meaning if he wants to get deep routes down the sidelines, posts, digs, things of that nature, they take time. Yes, he's a fast guy, but he's not the cleanest or smoothest route runner in the world. He's a physical presence. So Emmanuel Mosley being able to get physical early, get him off of his route, don't let him have clean breaks at times, and then breaking, not letting this guy get into his route clean. And those things are going to be very, very important. Whether or not Emmanuel Mosley is fully on DK or whether or not he's, on him at times, whenever you see that matchup there, the Niners are going to want to, especially if there's no Josh Norman, they're going to want to test Emmanuel Mosley, put him in situations where he's going to be a little more one-on-one with less help so they can give Demo a little bit more. He's going to have to win more of those matchups than he loses. He can get it done. He got it done against Devontae Adams this last week. Yes, I know Devontae had the big PI call down the sideline after he threw a hissy fit on the other side of the ball after he didn't get it. But I got faith in Emmanuel Mosley. He can get this thing done, and he's going to need to get this thing done.
Yeah, if Emmanuel Mosley can get this thing done, it changes the defense completely. If Emmanuel Mosley can match up with DK Metcalf and take him away, it's going to leave the 49ers with a lot of opportunities because then no matter who is on the other side, they can protect them with the safety. The other element that they're going to have to really do is, and we saw this last year, is when DK caught the ball over the middle, he was able to score early on in that game. Later on in that game, he got a little gun shy because Jimmy Ward and those guys were smacking him when he came over the middle. Those are areas they're going to have to do it again. You saw what happened when Devontae Adams tried to catch the ball deep. Jimmy Ward smacked him. So they're going to have to do that. It's going to take DK. You're right. It takes him a long time. He lumbers to get going. Once he gets going, he's crazy fast. But he's going to want to run these long, 20-yard comebacks and really get going. And that means Russell Wilson has to have the time to throw those footballs. Aaron Rodgers didn't have that time. That's why they got rid of the football quick. So
everything was quick. Yeah. Everything was a quick decision.
So the question is the game plan going to change? Is Seattle going to be able to duplicate the game plan that Green Bay did? I don't think so. That's not what they want to do. They want Russ to be able to create back there, move around, and DK have the time to operate down the field. Those shots might not be there early in the game. So the 49ers got to get after him. I think they really do. And Emmanuel Mosley could be huge. If Emmanuel Mosley can even play DK tough, limit him to 4 or 5 catches where he gets 4 or 5 for 40, I think that we would feel very comfortable about how our performance is going to be because then we can pay a lot of attention to Lockett. And if you're paying a lot of attention to Lockett, he's the one that's really killed the 49ers over the years. Yes, DK killed us a little bit last year, but you know what you're getting from DK. There's a little bit of difference where Lockett can kind of do it all. DK has a similar, a certain set of skills that he's going to be able to use and perform in this game.
I've got a particular set of skills.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's taken. And just hopefully Emmanuel Moseley can take him away.
That's right.
Because that's what we need. But you're right. That's a very big key matchup and a big key cog to what DeMeco Ryan wants to do. Because he came into the season thinking he was going to have Moseley and Verrett to be able to guard these guys. He doesn't have that. Now he has one guy. But if one guy can take away, the offensive player that you want him to take away, then that makes it easy for everyone else because now you're not having to help on both sides. You can help on one, and that's big. But other players are gonna have to step up in other ways. But I think they're prepared to do so.
Absolutely, man, and this is key. It's crucial. It opens up possibilities. If Emmanuel Moseley can lock down one side of the field, and you can feel comfortable about putting him in on the island more times than not, then you can roll coverages, you can disguise coverages, you can show help to Mosley's side, roll it over. You could show help and keep help. You could show help on Demo and then completely take it away, right? Show the help, make Russ go, don't even want to test that. I'm not even going to go over there. And then the help's not there. And everyone matches up somewhere else or they throw help somewhere else in the field to take certain things away. All of those things are a possibility. All of those things can happen if Emmanuel Moseley can get it done, whether it's DK, whether it's Tyler Lockett, whoever it ends up being. This is going to be important. It's going to be crucial. And as we get closer and closer to Sunday, we'll have a better idea of what the 49ers will be able to do with that secondary because you'll know what what his status is. You're going to know what they're feeling about Buster Screen. You're going to know what they're feeling about Drake or Patrick. And that's going to be an interesting one. If Drake or Patrick is going and out there and they're confident with him, going to be interesting to see how he's utilized and implemented in this game plan.
Well, he's very familiar with Seattle. Playing in Arizona last year, he played against them a couple times. The other thing that was interesting was Kyle Shanahan mentioning that Buster Screen can play outside and inside. And a reason why they valued bringing him in over maybe somebody like a Richard Sherman, who they said it just wasn't the right time to bring him in. So if Screen can do that, who else can play on the inside or the outside is Emmanuel Moseley. So you have the opportunity that at certain times, if they think they're going to be able to get a matchup where they move Lockett or they move DK into the slot, you can put Emmanuel Moseley in there and he can go ahead and guard them. And you don't have to worry about switching on the fly. And we saw that a little bit last year with Robert Saleh, where he would switch late. He would put Jason Verrett maybe in the slot and then switch him back outside or vice versa pre-snap, and that did mess with Russell Wilson. So having that flexibility and being able to do that again, once again, just confuses the reads a little bit. I mean, you come up to the line, you think you're seeing one thing, you might even move somebody in motion. They're giving you a certain look, and then we've seen the 49ers do it all year where a safety goes deep and the other one comes up, and it just changes and mucks everything up, your reads. And I think that's what they're going to try to do to Russ, and they're going to try to keep him off balance. And if they do, then they can definitely hang in this game because I think on paper you would see it and say, oh, DK and Lockett versus a banged up 49ers secondary, that's going to be a problem. But when you watch the All-22 film, you realize it didn't matter who they had in. The 49ers scheme was sound. It's just making sure these guys can execute. Some of that is just unfortunate that it's a rookie. But when Dante Johnson moved to the inside, he played well, and it was just the rookie that was kind of exposed. So there's going to be opportunities, and I think that if Josh Norman's healthy, the 49ers feel very confident with their secondary group.
I would. I mean, he's shown it on film, and they look comfortable. They feel comfortable. I have a lot of faith in DeMeco Ryan's and what I've seen so far. We'll see if the Niners can execute whatever he brings to the table this week. But talking about a guy who's been struggling to scheme a little bit, I don't think it's been that. It doesn't look like Kyle's struggling to scheme it. Teams are throwing new stuff at this 49ers offense. They're throwing new looks, new fronts, bringing safeties down in, a really almost overselling run commitment to just basically just say, no, we don't want you running the football at all. And even when they're doing that, there are still running lanes and opportunities. The scheme is actually there. It's just sometimes the execution's not there. What can Kyle Shanahan do this week to get this offense off to a better start than the last 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, first off, my key matchup on offense is going to be the 49ers. It's Kyle Shanahan against this muck-it-up defense. And I'm calling it muck-it-up because you can see it on the slide there. They brought everyone into the box. Safeties are playing up close. Against Green Bay, there's 6 guys at the line of scrimmage running like a 6-1 defense. This is the kind of stuff you see, high school football and lower levels. You don't usually see it in the NFL because that puts you in some dire need, at other spaces, especially in the secondary. I think what Kyle Shanahan needs to do, though, is what he did a little bit against Green Bay, is be able to adjust on the fly. Right now, Kyle gets set in kind of the way that he's wanting to handle things in the first 15 plays, and he's looking for certain looks, and he had an expectation of what he was going to get from Barry's defense. I think now you're going to have an expectation of what you're going to get from Seattle's defense because they've been doing things, But these guys are going to somewhat learn, right? There's a blueprint. The Eagles ran something similar. Green Bay ran something similar. So he's going to have to go out there and he's going to have to execute. And we've talked about the horizontal offense. Well, they've completely spread horizontal, and they're bringing those guys up into the box. So now you're going to have to expand vertical. That's what you're going to have to do. And when you're running the football, you have to change the run lanes where the holes are. You've been so good at running the outside zone and running the outside sweeps. That's why they brought a 6th guy up, so they could take away the sweeps. But you saw in the second half, it created cutback lanes.
Huge cutback
So now
lanes.
they can create plays where they can run little inside traps and stuff where they can get motion going one way and then bring it back. So remember when they ran the ball to Debo a couple years ago with Carolina where they faked it and then they gave it to him on the inside give? All those things where they get motion going one way and then able to go back underneath are going to be available now. Plus, there's opportunities to go ahead and attack the Seahawks defense vertically with that vertical run game. So I look for the 49ers to take advantage of that. It's not one of those things where I think that they can't take advantage of these secondary players as well. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to come up with a very good game plan. Expect to see some bunch. Expect to see them handling the way that they did in the Green Bay game where you see a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. And they really go out there and try to push it and take it to them and expect Jimmy Garoppolo to have some early success in this game. I think just because Philadelphia and Green Bay didn't go well doesn't mean the first half doesn't go well here. I think Kyle's going to figure this out. Him and Mike McDaniel are guaranteed are irritated with everything that's been going on. And I'm curious to, see what they come up with because they got to figure this out. They did figure it out, 28 points, but I think they can figure it out even better.
Agreed with you. But it's about expectations and expecting it. That's the big thing. That's the key thing. And to build off of yours, right? To build off of your offensive key matchup, which is, handling the muck and Kyle Shanahan scheming this up. When he does scheme it up, up to the playmakers. Playmakers versus themselves this week.
Yeah.
They have to make the plays. We saw it. Saw it on film. There are opportunities where Kyle Shanahan would dial up situations where they would take shots and put guys one-on-one in space. They didn't win very many of the deep opportunities. Middle of the field, great. Short side of the field, great. Little fake RPO actions. It looked like a run-pass option, but it's really not. It's a designed run. It's a designed bubble screen. Great. Looks great. It's phenomenal. Faking the bubble screen to George Kittle, get everyone flowing to George Kittle in space, and then dumping it off to Juszczyk in the soft spot of the zone in the middle of the field. Great. Kyle Shanahan does all those things great. We need to dial up the deep stuff now. Receivers need to win the deep stuff now. They got to win some of these. They got to win some of these matchups because right now they're not winning them that often. And people talking about Jimmy not taking shots. Jimmy talked about this week. I can only do what's being called, right? I can only do what's being called. I see what my reads are. I know what my keys are. I know what I'm supposed to be looking for and where I'm supposed to be going with the football. So when a play is called and I see it, I'm going to take it because that's what's coached. That's what I'm told. That's my job. That's my job as the quarterback. When the deep shots aren't being called, you're not going to take the deep shots. And when the deep shots are called and you're not winning the one-on-one matchups deep or you're not beating the coverage, not just going to throw the ball up, into a double coverage or something like that. You're just not going to do it. There was one opportunity where I thought he had a chance to throw one deep to Sherfield, right? We both saw this. Sherfield beats the coverage and he's coming back over. The opportunity is there, but what his read key there is that second safety. What is the second safety doing? The second safety is going over the top. He's supposed to come up underneath to Sanu or whoever the drag route is that's coming across the middle of the field. Well, the safety's running deep with Sherfield. Even though Sherfield has a step, not Kyle knows, but Jimmy knows, hey, that's my read. That's where I'm supposed to go with it. And he puts the ball in space, and it's a beautiful throw. 20 yards, a little bit out in front of Sanu. Sanu's able to catch it, gets a 15, 20-yard gain, goes down, and it is what it is. And people are like, oh, you take the deep shot. It's like, I get it. I understand. I want him to do it too, but I get what he's seeing. I understand why he makes the decision he made. It's not the wrong decision. It's just not the decision everyone wants. Everyone wants to see the big stuff. Kyle's going to have to dial some of this up this week. He's going to have to try and stretch this thing vertically, whether that's down the seam, outside the numbers, wherever it is. There's going to be opportunities because if Seattle tries to replicate this game plan in any way, really bring guys into the box and take away and slow down the outside run game for the 49ers, then the inside run games and the cutback lanes will be there. Can Trey Sermon find them? Is Elijah Mitchell the guy running? Can Mitchell find them? If they can, it's going to create some havoc, and maybe Seahawks have to get out of their game plan. But if they can't, we're going to have to beat them downfield.
Well, I'm guessing one of the key things is going to be locating Jamal Adams. You got to locate that defensive end and see where he's at all times. I have fun and kid with it, but he is a good determination of what they're doing.
Yes.
He's going to be in and around the box most of the time, most of the game, and he's going to be, trying to bring pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo, and you have to locate him. And Alex Mack has to locate him because they're going to have to make sure that they have blocking set up to pick him up because you can't let this guy come free. He is a very good pass rusher. So taking advantage of opportunities for where he's going to be at. That usually leaves yourself opportunities to run screen passes and stuff like that where he is, because rule number one is if you see a blitz coming, that is an area you can attack. That's a weakness. So locating him a lot of times will give you an idea of what you're able to attack and do. One thing they can do, though, is by running those bunch sets like they were doing, not only does it confuse the coverage a little bit, it also creates running abilities for you, because you can put your big receivers out there and they can make blocks and key blocks. So I think there's going to be opportunities for Kyle Shanahan to take advantage and get on the edge. But I think that early in this game, Seattle is going to come up and try to put 5 and 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. I don't know if they'll go 6 like Green Bay. I don't know if they have enough confidence that they can, their corners are going to be able to hold it down. I think Green Bay had more confidence in Jair Alexander than, the Seahawks definitely do in their guys. But I think it'll be similar. I think you're going to see probably what you saw from Philly, and the 49ers are going to have to take advantage of those. And you know what? Kyle Shanahan doesn't dial up those plays for Jimmy Garoppolo. I think some of it is because maybe he doesn't feel Jimmy Garoppolo can consistently make those plays down the field.
Maybe.
And so he's calling the things that Jimmy's successful at, but he's going to have to find even more of a happy medium, because he's going to have to take those shots. He's going to have to stretch that defense vertically, because if he's ever able to stretch that defense vertically, he already stretches it horizontally. There's going to be so much room in the middle of the field and right up the seams to operate that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be very successful. But you just got to find those opportunities, and finding those opportunities is hard. You're right. In this game, there was very limited opportunities because those plays weren't called. Whether that is because Kyle Shanahan didn't think they were going to be effective, whether it was because the receivers weren't making them effective, or if he didn't think Jimmy Garoppolo could actually get the ball down there because he didn't have the time. Because unfortunately, the times that he did have opportunities, the offensive line didn't give him the time needed where he can make the throw. So there's a lot that plays into it. I think it's going to be a different game plans, different personnel groupings. I'm excited for the matchups because I think there are cool key matchups and chess pieces that are going to be moved around. And it's going to be like a chessboard. But early on, if you look at the way that the games have went over the last couple of years, the 49ers are very successful early in these games, and then Seattle makes adjustments and makes it close or wins the football game. The 49ers have been playing the opposite this season, where they haven't been playing very good at the beginning. So the 49ers need to get off to a fast start this week. They need to take advantage of Seattle, because at some point Russ is going to cook. And once he does, you need to make sure you're ahead enough where you can withstand it. And I would love to see a 49ers blowout. I'm not foreseeing a 49ers blowout, but I am excited about this match.
We've said this for the past few years with this team, with Seattle. On paper, the 49ers are a significantly more talented roster, but styles make fights. And unfortunately, there's just a style there with that Seattle offense and that mobile quarterback and a guy who just has magic in his hands. It's just hard. It's hard to overcome that, because when they make enough adjustments and are able to give him enough time to extend and make plays, he makes them. He almost always does. It's very rare when Russell Wilson doesn't do the things that he's supposed to do to give them an opportunity to win football games.
Agreed.
So 49ers, get out early. If you can get out early and build yourself enough of a cushion. You saw what happened when Green Bay did it. They did just enough to make it really hard for the 49ers to ever feel comfortable, even late with 37 seconds left, that they can come out of that with a win. The 49ers can do the same thing, jump out to an early lead, can make it difficult for Seattle. Seattle's also shown they'll blow leads. They'll blow leads.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll let you back in the game, but you don't want to be let back into the game. You just want to control the game from start to finish. If you can control the game, control the tempo, dictate what Russ can do, what he's allowed to do, what shots he's allowed to take, when to take them, right? Then you have control over, what he's trying to do. He's going to always try and extend and get you off schedule with where your coverage is and what you're trying to take away, and finding areas where, you thought, well, we can get there. He's not going to have the opportunity to, Fred, there it is. There it is again. He's always going to find those opportunities. So limiting them to as much as you possibly can, keep him in the pocket. They can try and throw from within the pocket. Better for the 49ers, better chance to succeed for the 49ers against this specific gentleman. Didn't work so well against Aaron Rodgers, but that's because he's Aaron freaking Rodgers, and that's just what he does. We'll see. This is going to be interesting on both sides of the football, how both coaches decide to scheme this up, how Kyle Shanahan adjusts so this offense is more prepared for seeing the things that they've been seeing, while also still being able to do the things that he wants to do. I think he has probably a smaller game script, probably for the next few weeks. Smaller game script. Yeah. Smaller game script in terms of what he wants to do, and more of, okay, this is what I want to do, but this is what they're showing me. Okay, let's play. Because you see how well the offense functions, man, once he gets into a zone. Once he's dialed in, this offense moves.
Well, because he understands what he's seeing. Once you understand what you're seeing, you can pick it apart 100%. When you're a play caller and you realize what the other guy is doing, because you're not really going against the personnel on the other team. You're coaching against the other coach. And once you know what that coach is going to do, then you know where everyone's already going to be. And once you know where they're already going to be, then you can put your guys in position to be successful. That's one of the keys. That's why when these defensive players are learning, they're going against a coach as well. They're not going against players because the coach is going to give you the insight and everything you need to know. You don't need to know, oh, this guy runs this route and this guy. No. You know what they're going to run because of what the offensive coordinator tells them to run. But Kyle Shanahan is going to figure this out. And you saw it in this game. When he got into that last drive of the Packers, in fact, we were watching the game together, and I looked at you and I said, he's completely locked in. And there was nothing that was going to phase him. He was in a different place. You could see it in his mind. He was already thinking plays ahead. He knew exactly what he wanted to do to execute, to go down and march down the field. And I think he did that in a big way in that second half. And I think I wouldn't even be shocked. We talk about the script getting smaller. Don't even be shocked if there's not 3 scripts, right? Is like Kyle Shanahan prepares where this is what I think they're going to do, but what if they do this and what if they do that? And he'll have this all planned out and they'll be ready. And the defensive coaches will help him, right? Anyone that's ever worked in the Seattle system will have an idea. They got Ken Norton Jr. up there, so there's an idea of what he likes to do. You're going to see the cover 3. You're going to see that Seattle defense. So he's going to have an idea, and then he's going to also be prepared for what the Eagles did. He's going to be prepared for what Green Bay did, because the muck it up thing is real. And I think as long as Kyle figures it out early on, he's going to be fine. But look for them to do some crazy stuff in the first drive. I don't think it's going to be traditional run the ball up the middle, set up the play action. I look for them to take advantage and do some interesting stuff early on in this game to try to get Seattle on their heels and get this 49ers offense going and clicking early on.
Agreed with you, man. Definitely agree with you. And they're definitely going to take a page out of Minnesota's playbook as well and take a look at what they did and how they were able to get success with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
Tennessee.
Huh?
Or Tennessee with a big running back.
That's also true. I mean, they have 2 games that they can pull film off of and look at and really dive into and really find ways to attack and exploit these weaknesses on the defensive side of the football. Because outside of Bobby Wagner, questions. The linebacking group. That front 4, questions. Secondary, questions. All areas of 49ers.
DJ Reed.
Not as much as I probably should, but it's fine. And look,
not this year.
He hasn't been looking too good.
Yeah.
He has not looked too good so far. But this is why DJ Reed was the guy that was on the practice squad for the 49ers. He has his ups and he has his downs. Yeah. Whether or not that stays consistent, we'll see. Hopefully it stays consistent. I love the 49ers to exploit that all over the place.
I actually like DJ Reed too.
I do. He's a good guy.
But I hope he dies like a dog in this game.
Oh, my Lord almighty. Oh, my Lord. That was pretty bold, and it's a perfect segue because we go from talking about these key matchups and what the 49ers probably should be doing or how they maybe want to attack or the things they should be focusing on to bold predictions. Yeah. Wow, that's bold. It's my favorite segment of anything we do on this channel. Let's get to it.
Wow, that's really bold. Whoa.
Whoa, it's super bold. It's wow, that's bold. Shout out to Jay Hill for the wonderful sound clip there. And offensively, wow, that's bold. Week 4, Niners versus Seattle. What do you got for the peeps?
I'm warming it up because
are you gonna throw for tutties?
No, but
okay.
I'm getting ready for it. I'm welcoming the smoke on this one because I'm going to say something that's going to be, of course, controversial because of who it is. But I have a feeling I'm going with this. It could be completely wrong. I could end up on big yikes because I have Jimmy Garoppolo throwing for 4 touchdowns in this game. And I think Jimmy shows out in a big way. Kyle schemes it up. The 49ers have success against number 33, the defensive end for Seattle.
4 tutties? 4? I can't beat that this week. I can't beat that. I don't even have a wow that's bold anymore. No, I'm just joking. Of course I have a wow that's bold, but it's definitely not going to be that bold.
I'll bet it's very specific.
It's going to be extremely specific. How did you know, man? It's almost like we've been doing this for a while now and have a theme. Look, offensively, for me, George Kittle stepped up last week. He's going to keep stepping up. He has to keep stepping up. We need him to step up, and Kyle Shanahan is going to find ways to scheme this guy open.
He's going to Tatum.
He's going to score 2 tutties, Ant, but it's going to be 1 receiving, 30-plus yards, and 1 rushing, 25 yards for a tutty.
Wow.
On a nice little sweep action there. Kyle Shanahan's going to find a way to scheme it up. You know what? I say sweep. It could be a screen. He throws a screen, but it's a backward screen, and George Kittle takes it to the house.
Wow. No, make it a frontward screen so I get credit for Jimmy Garoppolo throwing a touchdown.
Okay, so I mean, maybe there's that. But look, he's going to score at least 2 tutties in this game. Yeah. 1 rushing, 1 receiving. Get this offense going, get everything ticking. But, Ant, there's another side of the football. And I got 2 wow that's bold on the defensive side. So I don't want to steal your thunder, but I got two. All right. My first one, the referees are going to call 4 offensive holding calls on the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow. That's really bold. Wow.
You know someone from the 49ers. Look, this is the one thing I do like about the 49ers. I got to give them credit for this before I go into my actual wow, that's bold, my real one. No one on that team is complaining on the defensive front about holding.
Yeah.
They're all focused on doing their job.
I think they need to invest in tearaway jerseys.
That would be incredible, dude, if they could find a way to do that. Just buy like a host of them, right?
Yeah.
You run through, it gets ripped off. You just look at the official. You go over to the sideline, you put the next one on, you go, and you just over and over and over. They know that the coaching staff and the front office and everyone else is going to be all in the NFL's ear, right? Head office,
100%.
officiating crews. They're going to be giving phone calls and be like, what in the world is going on? You got to get this taken care of. They're focused on doing their job. I would love to see that get called, especially against a very weak Seattle O-line. We'll see if that's the case. But my actual defensive wow that's bold is that D Ford is going to show up in a big way. 2.5 sacks for D Ford. The good old 5.5 showing out in full force this week. He's going to get it done.
I like that there's a half sack in there. A way to keep it specific. And then as far as the officials, I hope to not see them. Even though they would like to be seen more on TV than anyone else on the football field, let's not see you anymore.
Ref ball sucks.
Yeah, don't like it. But anyways, my defensive key match. Wow, I went all the way back to key matchups, and I have a bold prediction.
You do. You should just stick with wow that's bold. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. Well, my wow that's bold prediction is that DJ Jones is going to have 2 sacks.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think that DJ Jones is going to cause problems in the middle. He has been so close in these first 3 games. His arm over move on the center has been absolutely fantastic. He's been putting pressure on the quarterback. He just hasn't got home. I think this game, he gets home. Russ tries to hold the ball and cook a little bit long, and that causes a lot of situations where DJ Jones can get after him. And I think this is the game he comes away with 2 sacks, and everyone starts talking about, wow, DJ's looking great.
I agree with you, man. That 100% can happen. That can be the case. And
what do you mean can?
I want it to be. I just want it. It will?
It will.
Okay, positivity. The power of positivity will get it done.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. 2 sacks for DJ Jones, 2.5 for D4. That's 4.5 right there. And we didn't even talk about what Nick Bosa could potentially do, which means it could be a sack bonanza, a sack fiesta, sacks all over the place. And Russell Wilson is going to go home that night, look at Sierra, and be like, it's time to get out. Get out of Seattle.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited about it, and I think that we go over the top on our wow, that's bold. I'm curious what everyone else thinks about their bold predictions. Put them down there. Just know that if Jimmy Garoppolo does go for 4 touchdowns, I'm never going to let anyone forget it.
It's going to be a lot of shh.
Of course, if he doesn't, let me know. Let me have it.
Also, hop over to Patreon, check out Big Yikes, in which this clip will be featured on it. But it's fine. It's fine. Look, from bold predictions, right? From the key matchups, we got it all here, including NFC West predictions, as well as a couple other NFC West games that could impact the 49ers this week. We got our boy, the Azorean One Anthony Esteves on. It's time for Lock It Up.
It's a tough break. You go in there, you're taking on the Packers, which I know the history, the last 2 years, we've had our way with them, but you can never count them out. And Rodgers is still back there. So, we go all the way to the end, and then they pull it off. What are you going to do? You just got to take this loss and just move forward and improve, Just got to improve. You had on something right there. Yeah. That's all you can do. Oh, hey, Cutback. How's it going? Good to see you. How are things? Yeah, you saw that, huh? Well, it's September 30th, or as I call it, October Eve, and we've been decorated here for the past 2 weeks. So sometimes I work from home. Boys are at school, wife's at work, and I tend to have conversations with the beings in our home. I mean, sure, you know me as the tank top wearing, beach loving bro nerd, but toward the end of the year, especially during the harvest, the Gothic side comes out. Don't judge me about who I'm talking to at home, okay? There's many worse things I could be doing, all right, than sitting here and chatting with the three amigos. I don't talk to that one back there. I don't talk to that one. Don't like him. He's very rude. You heard me, rude. Anyways, on to week 4 of Lock It Up. This week, all 4 of our NFC West teams will be battling each other, leaving 2 open slots. So we, of course, have 2 added games for this week. So with that said, and without further ado, I present to you my picks for week 4 of this NFC hybrid of Lock It Up. So, taking the Rams over the Cardinals, okay? Taking the Saints over the Giants, easy, not those Saints, the team, not the, calm down, okay? The Buccaneers over the Patriots, that's right, Brady going back into Foxborough, and I know. And of course, the Niners over the Seagulls. See what I did? I'm still doing the Seagull thing. Never gets old. Seahawks, whatever. Anyway, those are my picks for this week, week 4 of Lock It Up. And on behalf of my bros here, wish y'all a great weekend and enjoy some football, okay? You should really, the teeth here, you should get this taken care of. There's things you can do for that could help, okay? Do you talk or you just sit there?
It's time for Lock It Up, and we have a complete battle on our hands and a new leader, Alex.
For the first time in my illustrious career here on the podcast, illustrious as if it's something impressive, I have finally taken a solidified lead. Not tied for the lead, not sharing the lead with somebody else. No, I am solo in the lead. I'm not going to get ahead of my skates here. I'm not going to get all, uppity in the britches, and I'm going to try and focus in and dial in right now on making good picks, solid picks, and just trying to keep the pressure. Got to keep the pressure on y'all.
Just so everyone knows, Alex has been like Sam Weish over there doing his little celebration, and I'm just sitting here cool and collected like Joe Montana about to come out there and go on the drive to end the season. So.
You know what, Ant? That is fair. It won't be this week. No matter what, it won't be this week, because this week, the game docket in terms of selection, we feel all pretty much the same way. I think the Cutback crew is included in that, and the Azorean One. You just saw his picks, so let's get into the rest of ours as well and see. He's got a little hill to climb. 7-5. He is, though, just ahead of the Cutback crew, who had a really, really bad week last week. 1-3 on the picks. Cutback crew, you struggled, but that's okay. Last week took an L, but this week you could bounce back. Let's find out, and let's start this thing off with the Bucs at the New England Patriots. Hello from the... I'm not going to do it. I can't sing like Adele. But hello from the other side.
The return.
Tom Brady makes his return, right? You're going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just like the Azorean One did. Why, Ant?
I'm going with Tampa Bay because I think that they're just a better football team. I think that this game is going to be a little bit closer than people would ultimately think, because I think Tom Brady's going to go through some of the emotions. I think he's going to be excited. He's going to want to win this game big. But when it comes down to it, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary is still in question. Richard Sherman's not going to be completely 100% into this team yet and ready to go. So they're going to be missing some stuff there. There's going to be some opportunities. Even though the Patriots don't have a very good receiving core, they're still able to run the football. So I think this game is going to be somewhat close, but I do think Tom Brady's going to win it 26-17.
26-17, that's nice. I like that there. Horst also went with the Buccaneers. You can see the TCC, 89% for the Buccaneers. They got a lot of confidence in Tampa Bay down there. And look, I'm going with Tampa Bay as well. This is pretty easy choice. The pass defense isn't by any means garbage, but their offense, I know there's questions with the secondary. Can Mac Jones take advantage of those things? Maybe. And I do think this will be a little bit closer. I think they're able to score 2 touchdowns comfortably. Can they get a field goal? Maybe. Maybe they can drive down the field and put some points on the board as well. But I think when they get to that point of the game, Tampa Bay is already going to put up 28 points. Mac Jones is coming down the field. You need a score here, and they're not able to get it. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers add an additional one on, and it ends up being 31-14. Close, right? Close until the end. Mac has a chance to get them, get a score, get a stop, and do what you need to do, and they're just not able to get it out. And then Tom Brady does Tom Brady things in that last drive and just makes it even look worse than it truly is. But from that NFC game, I know people were upset. The NFC game's not well. It's one of the games that has the biggest impact for the Niners because the Bucs are 2-1, the Niners are 2-1, and the Saints are 2-1 after an atrocious week 2, after a great week 1. Week 3, they come out, take care of business, handle it, do the things they need to do, and now they got the Giants here in week 4. And who do you got?
I got Famous Jameis. Famous Jameis is going to get it done. The Saints football team is better than the Giants football team.
Fair.
It doesn't matter how much they run. The judge runs them, and they're in condition. That's not going to matter because they're going to lose this game because the Saints have too many weapons. They have a better football coach. They have a better football team. And I think Jameis is going to get it done, and they're going to win 28-17.
28-17, I like that score there. I have 28-10. I don't think the Giants' offense is dialed in yet. Saquon still doesn't look like he's fully ready. He's slowly climbing back, and they're slowly getting him some more touches. But that Saints front is formidable also.
Yeah.
And the secondary is pretty good, especially Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo he's pretty fantastic, especially on all 22 film. Man, he looks solid. It's actually very upsetting every time I see him make a good play.
Very upsetting.
It's very upsetting indeed.
The only thing that'd be more upsetting is if Dante Pettis played, because then I think the Giants would have a chance to win.
Hey, now Dante Pettis, get yourself on the field. Come on, Joe Judge. You know you want to get him out of the doghouse. Get him off the practice squad into the game. Look, 28-10 is where I have this thing for the Saints. It makes sense. The Saints, Jameis has been playing great. He's been playing phenomenal. Mm-hmm. They've been utilizing Taysom Hill in the goal line red zone stuff and a little bit. And Florida State, get out of here. Get out of here with that. And Horst going with the Saints as well. Safe pick. We already know. Esteves, the Azorean One, went with that as well. And the cutback crew, another 89%er there for the Saints. Very confident in the New Orleans Saints. I don't blame them. It's a big week for them. They can get moved to 3-1. They got a little bit of an easier schedule here. And then we move into the actual NFC West, in which you have two NFC West matchups, right? Two teams from each side of the NFC West going at it. Cardinals and Rams are first. You already know the Azorean One went with the Los Angeles Rams. Ant, are you doing the same thing? Or do you believe in the Cardinals? Red Sea is going to rise up in this one.
I think the Red Sea is going to rise up. The only problem is Sean McVay and the Rams are going to ride that wave to a victory, because I have the Rams winning this game 31-27.
Ooh.
I think that it's going to be where the Rams pull away a little bit and get a little bit of a lead, and I think Arizona's going to push later in the game. I think there's going to be opportunities for them to make plays with this, high-powered offense. Kyler Murray's going to give LA fits at times, but I think that LA's offense is just a little bit too good, and they're going to make just enough plays to win this.
I like that, Ant. I like that. I actually have this being not as high scoring, a little bit on the lower scoring side, just because with teams like this, every time I expect the high scoring game, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So I'm going to take the inverse of the high scoring affair. They're going to struggle early to get things going. The Arizona Cardinals are really going to take away the deep shots and make Stafford move them down the field, try and force them into run situations and run fits. And maybe that slows down the offense a little bit there for the Rams. They're not able to get those things going, but McVay's creative. He's going to find a way to get those things open. The Cardinals are going to do Cardinals-like things, and what you're going to get is a 24-20 final for the Rams, in which the Arizona Cardinals drive down the field towards the end of the game. They punch one in, right? It's already 14. They're sitting at 14-24. They punch one in, and Cliff Kingsbury, he wants to go for two, Ant, because he wants to be able to kick a field goal and get that W. The 2-point conversion fails. They're sitting at 20. They don't recover the onside kick, and that's game over. So sad. You hate to see it because they need that tutty. They were too afraid to put that ball back in Stafford's hands. It is what it is. But yeah, I think this will be a closer affair. I think the Cardinals right now, while I don't know if they're necessarily the real deal, I do know that they match up very well against this team with the amount of weapons they have. Jalen Ramsey can't get rid of all of them, and Kyler Murray's elusive, which means you're not going to be a sitting duck like Tom Brady was when Aaron Donald brushes through that O-line. That's going to create some opportunities for them to have success offensively.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that this game is going to be the Rams, and I think it'll be a tight battle, though. I think both teams are going to come out there and compete. I think both teams are for real. I don't think there's anything that makes me think one of these teams isn't going to be there at the very end in the NFC West, competing.
Fair.
I think that, everyone in the NFC West still has an opportunity to win the West and an opportunity to make the play.
Absolutely. That's definitely a possibility, which is crazy to think. It could get a little bit harder for Seattle if they're not able to take care of the 49ers. Steves, he's sticking with the 49ers. Ant, are you sticking with the 49ers? Oh, and I almost forgot. Cutback crew, 77% with the Rams. Horse with the Rams as well. But the 49ers now, Ant, where are you at? Are you shaken? Are you not stirred? How are you feeling about this game? Can the 49ers get this thing done at home against the Seattle Seahawks?
Quote the great Bone Crusher, I'm never scared. And I'm not scared of the Seattle Seahawks in Santa Clara. I got the 49ers. They're going to win this game 27-24. I think it's going to be tight because anytime you play Seattle and it's a rivalry, it's going to be tight. But I think the 49ers are going to win. And I actually think that it's going to be 27-17. And Russ is going to lead a late drive and score to make it 27-24. But the 49ers are going to steal it down the stretch. I look for Jimmy Garoppolo to convert one first down, move the chains, and that'll be the time they run out the clock and they win this game. And it'll be a big victory for the 49ers and a harsh defeat for Seattle.
Moved to 1-3 then on the season.
Yeah.
You lost your first NFC West matchup, and they're definitely playing from behind the 8 ball, which is not good for them. Cutback crew agrees with you. 83%. Last week against the Green Bay Packers, 95% certainty for the Cutback crew.
Some shaking.
There's some shaking there. They're shaking in their little boots. Cutback crew. The Niners got you. Horst agrees. He's going San Francisco, and I'm going San Francisco. But Ant, I believe in this offense.
Ooh.
I believe in Kyle Shanahan.
You believe you can fly?
No. I've seen myself run. So no, I don't believe I can fly. But this 49ers offense can be explosive. Kyle Shanahan, the last couple of weeks, he's been struggling. We're seeing a frustrated Kyle Shanahan at press conferences. He's tired of people asking questions. He's tired of the nonsense. They're going to adjust. They're going to be ready for everything Seattle could potentially and possibly throw at them. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have himself a day. Right? This team is going to get off to an incredible start, and they are going to be up 27. Okay? Hear me out. 27-17. Seattle's going to go down and score. But at 27-24, and the 49ers are going to orchestrate a 3.5-minute drive to go down the field and punch one into the end zone late to win this game 34-24.
Wow, that's interesting.
30 plus for the 49ers. That puts them over the 30-point mark 4 games into the season on the average. They can get it done. I believe.
Like it. I like it. I like anytime the 49ers win and win by more points than what I had, I'm good. If they want to blow out the Seahawks, I'll be more than happy to exercise that and watch that, because let's just be honest, blowout games are a lot more exciting to watch if you're a fan of that team.
You're not wrong, Ant. They're a lot more fun. It's always a good time with the blowout games. Let's hope the Niners can blow this thing out. That'd be great. There will be no blowing out. We all picked the same games, so no matter what at the end of this, whether we're 0-4, whether we're 4-0, whether we're 2-2, everyone will stay in the same positioning from this week. But that's okay. It's just one of those weeks where the matchups kind of go that way. Next week probably won't be the same.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think at some point people are going to kind of go off on their own and make their own picks. It happened a little bit the last couple of weeks. People kind of done their things. But the 49ers need to win, because when they don't win, we automatically take an L, and I don't like that.
I don't like taking L's.
Last year, our record suffered tremendously because of the 49ers. Let's not do that again. 49ers win football games, so we don't have as many losses, and it looks like we know what we're doing.
That's it. We want to know. We want to look that way. We want to give that perception, indeed. But we're also going to be realistic about the Niners, and when they have a winnable game, we're going to pick them to win. Just the reality of the situation.
I'm probably going to pick them to win every single week until they give me a reason not to pick them.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And even this last week, they had their chances. They had their opportunities. Not shaking. You're not shaking. Horse not shaking.
And I'm not scared.
Cutback crew not shaking. He's never scared. What? He ain't never scared. Lock it up this week is interesting. It's going to keep getting interesting, man. It's a good one.
Yep, lock it up is in. Our picks are in, Alex. And it's going to be an exciting week. I think we have a good opportunity to go 4-0 here. A few things have to go our way, and there's a couple very pivotal NFC West matchups. The TCC saw it the same way as us, all the way across the board for the first time, so that's kind of interesting.
Very interesting indeed. It won't be any significant changing of the guards on the scoreboard, which means, and for the first time in my illustrious career, I will be back-to-back in the lead. Mm-hmm. Let's just hope it's another 4-0 week. We all go 4-0, right? That'd be the first time in Lock It Up history where that would happen. And we're all sitting very, very well on our picks. Well, at least the 3 of us are, and then the other 2 NFC East teams out there, down there. We were joking about that a little bit when we saw the pick numbers coming through. No, look, Lock It Up's going well. Picks are rolling in. We're doing a pretty good job of hitting these things. And the best news is we're hitting these things, and the Niners are hopefully going to be hitting their stride, getting this big W, moving to 3-1, and being one step closer to getting 2 wins in these 3 tough games before the bye week.
Yeah, I think they would have loved to have beaten Green Bay and only had to split these 2 NFC West games. But when it comes down to it, these are the games that are the most important. Whenever you're playing against the division teams, you have to win those. And if you win those, you put yourself in a great opportunity, to win the division. Like we've talked about before, if they can go 4-2 in division, they have a very good opportunity to win the West. So this is how you get it done. If they can win these 2 games going into the bye week and then they get reinforcements back, wow, we'll feel really good about the 49ers situation. 4-1 sounds really good going into Indy. So they need to get it done. These are 2 games that are winnable if they execute because they have a very good football team. The scheme so far has been pretty good. The offensive scheme needs to pick it up a little bit in the first half. If they do that, they're going to have an opportunity to score points on Seattle and really put Seattle in a tough place because, let's be honest, Seattle is on the ropes right now. They do not want to go 1-3. If they go 1-3, they have put themselves behind the 8 ball and they're going to struggle. They're really going to have to claw and battle their way back. So they're going to be playing with their backs against the wall. We'll see how they respond, but the 49ers can go in right now and land a very big punch in the NFC West and put Seattle down. Seattle still has the opportunity to get up, but at least it's something the 49ers can take advantage of right now.
Definitely can. Let us know what you think about the preview show and this game down below in the comment section right now. How excited are you? Can the Niners get this done? Are you completely off the bandwagon? This team is trash. We have no hope whatsoever. We want to hear from you. We may not agree. We may not agree on the take. We may not even agree on the situation. But I think we all can agree. We want the best for the 49ers. We want them to succeed. We may just have different ways of going about doing that. So let us know how you think this needs to go and how this should play out for the 49ers in order to get a W, or if you think there's no chance whatsoever. And while you're down there commenting away, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. That way you're notified when we go live just a little bit after this. Nice little hangout Q&A session, talking a little bit about the preview show, talking a little bit about this game coming up, and just talking a little bit of football with all of you, the Cutback crew, right here, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. You don't want to miss that. It's a lot of fun there. Nice little hangout sesh right before the Thursday night game as we tune in and get ready and for the Friday extravaganza lineup here on the 49ers Cutback, where you got Madden simulations in the morning, right? You got a daily video at 11 a.m. And then after that, you have What's Good with our boy Jay in the Bay. And
that's growing very fast.
It is. It's growing really fast. The Cutback crew is all over that. We love you guys for that. And Jay is killing it.
He really is.
He's killing it on What's Good. So make sure you check that out at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And then obviously Know Your Opponent with Sam from the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. It's going to be a good time talking about the Seattle Seahawks.
You have a full lineup. All day Thursday, all day Friday. There's just lots of cool stuff, whether that is on YouTube or on Patreon. And just remember, as long as you come with a well-thought-out argument, it's going to be taken well, because well-thought-out arguments are encouraged here, whether they're agreeing with us or against us. We don't even agree with each other, but as long as there is a well-thought-out argument, we can have a nice conversation about it. And sometimes perspective is everything. So 2 people can watch the exact same game and have a different opinion on it. That's perfectly fine. So do that. Make sure you jump in there with a well-thought-out argument so we can have a nice conversation on it. We might not get back to you right away, but we're trying to get back to you as soon as we can. And if it's a good one, I mean, we'll for sure get back to it. It might even end up on a show where we talk about it. So
absolutely,
make sure you get into it, though. And, if you have questions about what happened in the game against the Packers, we're still answering those. And we've been going through the All-22 film. You can check that out on Patreon as well. And then, of course, on Patreon, we're going to be also breaking down the Seahawks game and getting into a little bit deeper what the 49ers need to do to attack this defense and get after Russ and make sure that they can win it. So our first All-22 preview show, which will be exciting to get into. So I'm excited about all of it.
I'm super excited about it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss any of that great content. Hop over to Patreon. Make sure you're subscribed here. Head on over to the Cutback shop as well and cop yourself some 40 freaking Niners merch. It's wonderful. It's glorious. You can get some TCC merch also. Since you're now a member of the Cutback crew, hopefully you've hit that subscribe button. You're helping us get to our 2,000 subscriber goal before we get to the bye week. That would be appreciated. You'll go rep that and be a part of the Cutback crew. We appreciate all of the support, whether it's just
100%.
watching, liking, commenting, however you choose to do it here. You're helping the channel out. We cannot thank you enough for it. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, great people. I mean, 100%. 49ers community is fantastic. There's people that show up every single day and have good takes and that just enjoy 49ers content. And sometimes they agree, sometimes they disagree, but we all agree that on game day we're pro 49ers, we're for it. And that's what's nice. And I really have gotten to like this community and like the people that are here. Every day being able to interact. Sometimes I'm not able to interact as much as I would like, but it's very nice when I get to do so. So jump in, get involved. Thank you for everything that you do. We couldn't do it without you. We really appreciate it.
We really do. Cannot thank you enough. But Ant, it's about that time. Might be time for us to chalk one of those things up.
You know what, Alex? Let's chalk it up.
See y'all at the live stream.